Friends, out of the different social security legislations, ESI Act, Employee State Insurance Act of 1948, plays a very important role in the social security of an organized industry. When I use the word social security, 95% of the Indian population doesn't have any social security, whereas 5% of the organized labor is only having a social security coverage under the ESI Act of 1948. The ESI Act applies to every establishment, whether it is a factory or a non-factory establishments, say for example a hospital, a school, a hotel, etc., an office, wherever 10 or more employees are employed on any day during the preceding 12 months is covered under the ESI Act. The Act applies on its own force and vigor, not from a prospective date, and if the coverage, the 10 employees coverage starts from a previous date, the Act will apply from that retrospective date. In the case of a retrospective coverage, that means if you have employed more than 10 employees on an earlier date, the Act will apply from that retrospective date, and the liability on the side of the employer is both shares of the employees as well as the employer's contribution has to be paid by the employer. In the ESI case, in the matter of ESI, from July onwards, that is from this month onwards, July 2019 onwards, the employee's contribution has been reduced to 0.75% as a salary, or I use the word wages, and employer will have to contribute 3.25%, that is 3.25% on the side of the employer and 0.75% by the employee, and altogether 4% of the contribution has to be paid, which is a reduction of liability on the side of the employer and employee from the earlier total contribution of 6.5%. So the employee's contribution is reduced from 1.75 to 0.75, that is totally 1% reduction in the liability of the employer's pocket. Whereas the employer's side it was 4.75, which has been reduced to 3.75. There also almost it is 1% reduction. So the attitude of the government is it should both encourage the employees because the liability of the employees has been reduced, whereas the employer also, the liability on the cost of the employer has also been reduced, so that the employer and employee should not feel that this is an additional liability on both sides, which result in evasion of the social security benefit, namely ESI. This is a process where government is anticipating an ease of doing the business by reducing the cost on the side of the employee and employer and streamlining the process more easy, more digitalization process. Now, as of now, an employee covered under the ESI Act, from the very first day onwards, the ESI Act applies. It not only applies to employees directly employed by the company, it applies to all employees who are employed indirectly through a contractor. So the Act defines employee coverable includes a contract employee also on the same footing. So when you are employing a contract employee, you should keep in mind that the liability of the contractor and the contract employee is ultimately with the principal employer. And if you don't verify and ensure that the contractor is remitting ESI contribution on a monthly basis on or before 15th, the liability will fall upon the principal employer, and every HR people should ensure before releasing the ESI, before releasing the bill of the contractor, the HR person should ensure, certify that their employees, their contract employees are properly covered and their contribution is remitted. When I talk about the contract employees, the ESI Act applies in a much larger perspective. It employs to trainees, it employs to temporary employees, casual employees, probationer, all kinds of employees other than an apprentice registered under the Indian Apprenticeship Act of 1961. If you designate an employee as an apprentice, ESI will not exclude that employee. Only an apprentice registered under the Apprenticeship Advisory Board and he is deputed to the company where 50% of this stipend is paid by the Apprenticeship Advisory Board of the Government of India, and the 50% you will have to pay, and that employee is alone excluded under the ESI Act. So before entering into the benefit under the ESI Act, as you are aware that all employees are covered except the apprentice covered under the Apprenticeship Act. Let us have a look at the benefits under the ESI Act. It is a fantastic act where an employee joining in the first day is meeting with an accident, and if he dies, he is entitled for a monthly benefit that is called pension, you can say. If he die while in service or during the course of the employment, his family member, legal heir, is entitled for a monthly pension. The greatest benefit under the ESI Act. You don't get this coverage under any of the insurance coverage under the Government of India. That is why you enroll an employee from the very first day onwards, because the ESI Act says all employees has to be enrolled on the very first day. On the very first day, you cover an employee, insure an employee, now it is online, register an employee. The employee dies either inside the factory or it's not necessary the death should take place inside the working place. It can even extend at your till you reaches your home, the normal route of your residence and back. The notional extension of employment is covered, and that employee's coverage is ensured under the ESI Act. So the Act has been recently amended. Recently, I am talking about 2010, the Act has been amended, incorporating the notional extension of coverage, which ensures that an accident should either be in the course of your employment or it can happen during the course of the employment, and the notional extension of coverage has been amended through a notification by an amendment which says an extension of employment up to your residence. The second benefit is the first is dependent benefit, the second is disability benefit. If you are meeting with an accident and if you lose your finger, based on the percentage of the disability, day number 1 onwards, you are entitled for a monthly pension based on the percentage of the disability. Not necessarily the accident should take place inside the factory. On the way, if you are going to your home, the normal course of your journey, you are meeting with an accident and something happens, you lose your finger or you lose your leg, you are entitled for a monthly pension if you have suffered a permanent total disability. So that is called disability benefit. And not only that, you are entitled for the entire medical expenses for the accident that occurred. The entire medical expense of the hospital will be met by the ESI Corporation, either in the ESI hospital or ESI referred hospital or what you call as ESI empaneled hospital. So on the face of it, the employees will have a feeling, why should I pay contribution to the ESI Corporation when the benefits are not attractive to me? But these are all hidden benefits which HR people should enrich, enlighten the employees to make them aware, so that the employees will come forward and say, yes, I want to cover me under the ESI Act. So the number 1 and number 2 benefit. So the very attractive benefits under the ESI scheme, namely dependence benefit and disablement benefit. The most attractive benefit from the day one onwards, while in employment or during the course of employment, the employee is entitled for a monthly pension which none of the insurance company under the earth or under the India can cover the employees. You may take an accident insurance policy for 10 lakhs, but your monthly pension under the total disability or your monthly pension for your permanent partial disability, you will not get any benefit under the accident insurance policy. So most of the employers and employees will have a feeling, why should I have an ESI coverage when I have an option to have an accident insurance policy? As a matter of fact, the coverage of the ESI is very statutory in nature, and no other insurance can make the establishment say that I am not entitled to cover them under the ESI Act. The third benefit under the ESI Act is the medical benefit. Medical benefit is applicable to the insured employee as well as the dependent family members. The only thing is a qualifying period is prescribed. When you complete a specific period of employment, you are entitled to get medical benefit for your family and yourself, for your treatment. For more than 3 days of medical disability, your sickness, your ESI corporation will give 70% of the salary as sickness benefit. The fourth benefit is sickness benefit. 70% of the total salary right now is given as medical benefit for your illness. But that medical benefit, that sickness benefit is only confined to the insured employee. I've been hearing some of the employees asking a question, sir, my wife is covered under the ESI coverage, so should I have an ESI coverage again, whether it will be a duplication? Never. Your wife's coverage under the ESI, you are not entitled to get the medical benefit of 70% of the salary. That medical benefit of 70% of the salary is entitled to the insured employee alone. So your wife's coverage will not safeguard you from availing the medical benefit, from the sickness benefit. So the medical benefit is by way of kind. It is not cash. Medical benefit, suppose you are meeting with an accident, you are taken to the hospital and your entire medical expense in the referral hospital or ESI hospital is taken care of free of cost. It is not confined to yourself only. It can also be to the medical benefit. The medical benefit can even go to the dependent family member. So it is there is no ceiling on the medical benefit for you and your family member. Recently, the paper news has come for dialysis for a dependent father. The ESI corporation have spent around more than 6 crores for an employee, and that occasion the employee will think, oh, this is a very attractive scheme. I am paying only petty 0.75% of the salary and the benefit is crores of rupees. In the absence of not knowing the hidden benefits under the ESI scheme, there is a tendency on the side of the employee to not to cover by one or other way. And when you educate the employees that the benefits are unparalleled to that of any other insurance scheme, I am sure that more and more employees will come forward and insist that I should also be covered in the ESI scheme. So the HR people should educate the employees, all categories of employees, and make them aware that the coverage under the ESI scheme is very, very attractive. So the medical benefit is by way of kind to yourself and your family. Sickness benefit is by way of cash 70% of the salary for yourself in the event of your sickness, above 3 days sickness. If you have 1 day sickness, 2 day sickness, you are not entitled for 70% of the sickness benefit. Above 3 days sickness, sick, you are entitled for sickness benefit of 70% of the total salary. So we are talking about dependence benefit, disablement benefit, sickness benefit, medical benefit, and the fifth benefit is attractive maternity benefit, which envisages that 26 weeks wages is paid in the event of maternity to the female employees. The only precondition is the employee should have put in specific 80 days or so contribution to the ESI corporation. Then the women employees are entitled for 26 weeks maternity benefit, and the employee is entitled for the entire full salary for the 26 weeks, that is around 6 months wages. You may be contributing for 7.75% for, say, example, 3 months or so during your contribution period, and you will be getting a full pay for almost 6 weeks. 6 months is a very attractive scheme. So the fifth is maternity benefit, and the sixth is, it is not maternity in the event of abortion during the pregnancy period. Also, you are entitled for 12 weeks pay, etc., etc. Further to add, the sixth benefit is funeral benefit in the event of death of your father or mother, the close husband or wife. The corporation will pay a lump sum 10,000 rupees as this funeral expenses, which is also, I think, hiked to 15,000 as funeral expenses. So with this 6 benefit under the ESI scheme, the social security part has been it's well protected, well taken care of, but the fact remains the employees are not happy with the scheme because the operation or the implementation of the ESI scheme is not as smooth as the legislation envisages. Because the operating part is taken care of, the enforcement, the benefits, etc., or the medical benefit, all the medical expense of the ESI is taken care of their respective states, because health is coming under the schedule of the state portfolio. So the state is taking care of the medical expense, sickness benefit, etc., and the expenditure is getting reimbursed with the ESI corporation. All other benefits ESI corporation directly manages. But due to the bureaucratic issues involved, the employees find it difficult that the ESI benefit is not, the employees will never say ESI benefit is not attractive. The employees will say, I don't want ESI because there is nothing much attractive for me, because going to the hospital for a tablet or a medicine, I'll have to pay 100 rupees to another doctor and I can get a very fast treatment. Why should I go to the ESI hospital and stand on the queue for hours together, losing me 1 month's salary, etc., one day's attendance, etc., etc. So this attitude should be changed by the HR professionals, by educating the employees in such a way so that employees should be very happy to come and enroll under the scheme. Now the ESI Act applies to even construction industries. Even construction industries, recently the Supreme Court has passed an interim order that construction site workers are not entitled to be covered under the ESI scheme, whereas the construction, permanent, almost, hence in total, the magnitude of the ramification, the importance, the various benefits under the ESI scheme is unparalleled. No insurance company can afford to extend this benefit. The first day you meet with an accident and you die, your legal heir will get a monthly pension till they die. Which insurance company can afford to pay that thing? You're paying only 0.75% of the salary as an employee. An employer contributes 3.25% of the salary, and the benefit is really wonderful. And after the introduction of the digital formalities under the ESI, now you can register an employee through online. You can register an accident through online. You can get the benefit, not necessary as in the previous system where you have to maintain the accident register and then you'll have to inform through a letter, etc., etc. These are all now taken care of by the digital modes, and the process has been more and more simplified, and the benefits have been made more and more attractive to all employees. And what I want to conclude is that the benefit under the ESI, the coverage under the ESI should be made more and more transparent. The employee should be made aware of all the benefits so that more and more employers will also be happy to enroll them under the ESI scheme. I think the Government of India is also planning to have a ESI scheme applicable to unorganized sector also, which is we are all expecting. The Government of India has already codified the various labor statutes. I think there are around 44 labor statutes which have been codified into number one, which has been passed by the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, is Code on Wages, which covers the Minimum Wages Act of 1948, the Payment of Wages Act of 1936, the Equal Remuneration Act, followed by the Payment of Bonus Act of 1965. The government's intention is to simplify the labor statutes so that the employer should not feel this is a headache for the employer. You will have to file different returns to the authorities, both central and state, etc. So the businessman will come to India when he will have a feeling there is that is called the ease of doing the business. When I am free to comply with the labor statutes, most of the employers are happy to comply with the labor statutes provided the procedure, the process of implementation is smoothened. Stage by stage, the government is introducing, simplifying the labor statute, codifying the labor statutes into, already has been done into on wages, code on wages, then code on social security is coming, code on social security, code on, there are 4 codes, code on social security, code on wages, code on, there are 4 codes are going to come in the future, maybe in the next parliament session, these are all going to come. So what I am trying to tell you is the importance of legislation in Indian industry, the sudden changes of the government by digitalizing the entire process, both under the Provident Fund and ESI, so that more and more employers are willing to come to India and invest. The entire world is looking at India because India has got the highest democratic dividend. China is lagging behind, and the youngest workforce, age of 20 and 50, is the largest in India. China has got an aging population, but the highest number of employable human resources are in India. So the entire world is looking in India to invest, provided we have a conducive atmosphere where the statutes, implementation, procedures, etc., from the starting of acquiring land and obtaining various licenses under various statutes and followed by various labor complaints, etc. If it is smoothened, more and more employers are willing to come to India, but provided a rider is there, but we have sufficient democratic dividend, highest young population, but the skill of the the young population is also doubtful, because we have a number of IITs, BTechs, diplomas, MBAs, and so on and so forth. But most of them are not employable because our education system lacks the practical application, and these persons are not employable in an industrial situation. And that is why the government of India has started various schemes of skilling in India, so that the employees, more and more human resources will be employable, made employable. Skill can be imparted. Government of India has already started spending crores of rupees to all the states for improving the skill of the employable workforce. But as a matter of fact, this skill improvement process is not taking effective as that is expected of the Government of India. So thank you very much for watching this session. Thank you.